Hello everyone, this is Lori Lytle. I'll be hosting today's Q&A. Anyone who's new on the call, please open up the question box as we go through this process. If you have any questions at all, just go ahead and type it in there and we'll address it during this call. What we're going to do today is the first thing I'm going to do is show you how to be able to take a file that has been a Fannie Mae export and be able to bring that into Edge. Most loan origination systems do have a way of exporting a Fannie Mae file out to your desktop or wherever you want to save it. Once you have done that, the next step you would do is start a new client. So let's go ahead and start that process. And if you see at the base, there's an import button, and this is what you're going to be able to use to import a Fannie Mae file. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that, and I have the Fannie Mae. And you'll have two options, a proposed mortgage or a current mortgage. This is for a purchase or a refinance. So when you're bringing down the file, you'll know which one it is. So in this particular case, it is a purchase file. So I'm going to go ahead and indicate that it's a proposed mortgage. And then I have it already downloaded to my desktop. So I'm going to go ahead and just bring this file in. And then once I have done that, you'll see how the information is populated into our Edge file here. So you'll be able to take a look, adjust any information that you need to on here. I'm going to go ahead and put a friendly name in this area. This is great, so when you are working with a file, if you're doing a copy, if you do more than one loan for a particular person, that friendly name field, that's your identifier between the files. So in this particular case, I'm just going to say it's a purchase file for me. You could put street address, whatever the information you want, you could put in this area. As we move on, you'll see that it's marked as a purchase. What this is going to do here is exclude that current mortgage on a refinance. If you're doing refinances, you would just indicate it by this button here. And you'll see how the data did carry through from the Fannie Mae export file into Edge. So we have our current property value as well as an original property value on here. So I'm moving on. You could have updated those numbers if you chose to, if for some reason they were off. They're also off in your LOS system as well. So I'm bringing over this information, and what I'm doing is just being able to show you the quickest way to create an Edge report. The information I'm going through on these screens aren't necessary for the Edge report. That's why I went ahead and just passed through them. Now that you see we're on our first product, and you'll see how that information carried through in this area. What I'm going to do is just go ahead and change my product title. This particular one I'm just having as a conventional 30-year product. And I'm not going to change everything because right now that is my interest rate, my term. This is my base loan amount here. I'm going to go ahead and advance the screen, and now we're coming to our fees. What happens with the Fannie Mae export, they will go ahead and total all the APR fees and all the prepaid escrows, and if you had non-APR fees, it would go ahead and slot it in here. This is what we consider our lump sum type of fee estimate, which is perfectly fine if this is the way you want to go and put in the lump sum fees. Or you can override this information just by going into the closing cost details here. And I have a fee template, and I'm just going to go ahead and pull that fee template down. If you work with an enterprise account, they probably have fee templates already built for you. If not, that is something that you can request through your administrator on that account. If you're an individual member, you can also create these fee templates. You can create it in the sense of this time through, the one time. You can also save it as a template and be able to go into your settings here. So once you either create the fee template or pull one down, you can make any modifications. If you're starting fresh, just the way this fee screen works, we have two buttons down here, add a fee or add a custom fee. What you would do is as you're creating a fee template, you would click on that button and you'll see a new line item came up. If you click on the down arrow, we have quite a few fee descriptions. It follows that HUD-1 fee description. You would just find your fee within the list. If you type the first letter, it will drop you to that area. You can go ahead and pick your fee description and then put in that dollar amount here. Make sure if it's an APR fee that you mark it as an APR fee. You can also create templates based on purchase and refi. And if you, on your refinances, if you add the fee normally to the loan amount, you could go ahead and indicate so here by this column. And then you can go ahead and save your template as a refinance. And that way you'll have it already set up for you. You don't have to go and mark those columns. And let me explain a little bit, the last column here, PPE, those are prepaid escrow items. So you'll notice that my reserves are automatically marked here. What this is going to do is exclude them from the short-term savings area because these are not costs to the loan. So that's just adding a fee and using our fee descriptions, but if you do not see your fee description and you want to create a custom fee description, you could do so with this button here. You would go ahead and type in your description. So say I wanted an escrow fee. Everybody, can you hear me? Can you let me know? Someone just email in the box. I'm getting some feedback saying that no one can hear. Yeah. Oh, perfect. Great. I appreciate it, everyone. Okay, we'll move on. Well, I'll get quite a few of those yeses. Okay, so back to our fees. We have our custom fee here. I went ahead and put my fee description. And for my escrow fee, I am going to mark it as an APR. If you're doing reserves, some people want to be able to do actually identify tax reserves 6 months. If that's the case and you want to create custom descriptions, that's great. Just make sure you do any reserves, mark it as a default prepaid. That will automatically mark the column as a PPE. So once I press OK, you'll see that I have my escrow fee here. And then if I go down to the descriptions, any new custom description is at the bottom of my list here. And the reason for it is we have ours, we put it in alphabetical order, and any custom fees go to the base. Okay, I have a question here on the fees. Okay, Jack is asking, when we edit a template, why do we have to save a new template? Why not save over? You don't, what you can do, Jack, this is if you're creating say a new fee template compared to a purchase or a refi. Any new fee template you want to save as a template. If you ever want to modify a template, you can go into the settings and actually edit the fee template, either descriptions or the dollar amounts there. You don't have to save a fee template each time. It's only if you're making a new fee template that you want to be able to use for various loans down the road. If let me know if that answered your question, Jack. And I also have a question from Alicia, and she's asking to restate where I got the Fannie Mae file that I imported. Where you would get it is in your LOS system. So depending what your LOS system has, most origination system does have a Fannie Mae export. Point Calyx definitely has it. Encompass has it. It's a little buried. You would just need to find out where that Fannie Mae export is within your origination system, and then once you find it, then you would go ahead and take the data from that particular file and download it to your desktop. Alicia, if that didn't answer your question, let me know. And then David has a question. Can you import a template from a coworker that's already set up? Currently, you can't cross accounts that way, David. The only way I suggest, I don't know if you're on an enterprise account, if you are, maybe email me and we'll be able to talk a little more. Okay, you're not. The only quickest way to be able to do that is actually, if you have two monitors, have her account opened up or his account, and then create your fee template that way. It's a manual labor, but you would have to do it that way. Yep, sorry about that. Okay, so moving on with our fees. I added the two fees. We went ahead and showed you how to add a fee as well as how to create a custom fee. So let me go ahead and I'm going to remove these fees from this template here. Once I'm done modifying my fees, you want to apply to the loan. What this will do is take all the fees and total them up as APR, non-APR, and prepaid escrows, as well as contributions. And then it will go ahead and slot it over here. You'll notice how earlier I had lump sum fees in here, and you were able to edit them. Now they're all grayed out. The reason for that is because you use the closing cost detail screen. Anytime you do that, we will gray out these figures. You need any adjustments, just go back into the closed cost details, modify your fees, and just remember to apply it to the loan. I also want to go ahead and add my per diem interest or prepaid interest. You could enter the amount of days you quote. If you hover your mouse over it, you can see the dollar amount. Also, if you key it in before you go into your closing cost templates, it also goes ahead and displays in this area here. Okay, let me go back to my questions. Just a moment. Kevin's asking if the export 3.0 or 3.2 file, does it matter? It will only take 3.2, Stephen, or Kevin, so if you need that, make sure it downloads into a 3.2 file for the Fannie Mae export. Yeah, Todd is asking, fees do not come over with the Fannie Mae file, correct? Todd, they will come over, but as a lump sum. They come over as a solid amount in this area. They'll lump sum all the APR fees, prepaid escrows, non-APRs. So if you want to itemize, you just need to go into the closing cost details and pull down a fee template. So, okay. And that's my question so far. Okay, Kimmy is asking about the prepaid interest. What it is, Kimmy, is there's a field here for prepaid interest. You could go ahead and put the amount of days in this area. If you quote 15 or 30, some people go for exact and they might put 5 days in there. You just put the dollar amount in there, and once you tab off the field, we'll go ahead and calculate that figure for you. You see how it's displayed there? I'm just holding my mouse over that field. And it will just populate. If you key the amount in, it will populate into these two fields right here, and then bring it over to your closing cost templates. Yes, Todd, if you have an estimate within the point system, it will pull all those fees and put it as a lump sum figure, and it will bring it down into Edge. Okay, perfect. Now we're going to go ahead and move on. And you'll see on this screen that we have the hazard insurance and the property taxes, and that they carried over from that import. So that will save you a little time here. So you have that information. If you have mortgage insurance, it would go ahead and carry over also. I do have this one as 80% down. So I am going to do a FHA just to be able to show you how this information works on an FHA loan. So we'll go ahead and do that as one of our products shortly. Okay, so once we have our first product, and only one product will carry over with the Fannie Mae import, so the next piece you need to do is add your comparison products. So we're going to go ahead and click on Add Another Product, and this starts our process over again. And what we're going to do here is I did have a request to do an ARM product, so we're going to go ahead and show how an ARM product is keyed into Edge. So let's go ahead and an ARM 5.1 product. And before I move on, let me check my questions. Okay, Jack's asking a question on the points. The points will go ahead and add as an APR and will be listed in your total APR costs. I believe that's what you're asking. When we get to the fees on this product, we'll discuss that point field a little more. So, and if you have more questions on that, we can address it then. Okay, so I'm bringing down my information here. We are doing a purchase, so we're just keeping it as no for right now. There's a couple ways of doing an ARM template. I'll show you after we're done with keying this information in. We'll go ahead and save this as a template to be able to use in your drop downs in this area here. It will save you time, so this way you don't have to key in all the ARM information over and over. What I do want to do, because I keyed in my fees, I want to go ahead and use my copy from button. What this allows you to do is copy a previous product that's already been created within your Edge account, within this report. So we'll see the conventional 30-year. I'm going to go ahead and say OK, and you'll see how it populated all that information down here. Now I just need to make my adjustments. So on my interest rate, I'm going to go ahead and lower it to 3 1/4 here. I'm also going to change my loan type from fixed to ARM. So now this triggers it to the ARM information, and as soon as we advance our screen, now we're going to get the details for the ARM. So on the first adjustment cap, what I'm going to do on this particular 5.1 ARM is at the first adjustment, it adjusts 5%, then 2% every 12 months thereafter with a ceiling of 5. So I'm going to do a 525 product. I'm going to enter my first adjustment cap as 5%. My first adjustment month, I'm putting 61. It's the first month after that fixed period, so I put in 61. My periodic cap is 2%. My adjustment months after that 60 is going to be 12 months thereafter. My maximum rate, I had it at 3 1/4 plus 5. Go ahead and put in 8 1/4 in this area. Enter your margin. And what's great with the index percentage, you can key in this percentage here, but we do have a list of all the different indices over in this area here. So if I'm being tied to the 1-year LIBOR, I could go ahead and click on that description, and it will pull over today's index percentage in this field. So this is a nice little area to be able to have to just quickly, if you don't know that index, to populate it through. And now the floor. If you don't know the floor on your product, the floor is usually the margin of the loan. So if you don't have anything specifically stated, go ahead and indicate 2.5 for the floor percentage. We have different scenarios. Worst case. What worst case will do is take the loan to the worst possible case on the adjustment. So therefore, in this particular case, at the 5.1 mark, we will adjust it all the way to the 5% interest. So it will go all the way to the ceiling. So that's the worst case, to be able to show the worst adjustments possible. We also have a best case scenario. The best case scenario will take it to the index plus margin. This is what your TIL does. And we'll just stop at that point and won't show the worst case scenarios. What some people do is, I always suggest do worse, since this is a loan quote. You want to be able to show them both ends. Some people copy the ARM product over twice. So they show 2 ARM products, one showing the worst case, one showing the best case. So that way they could get the idea how that ARM works and be able to see the long-term and short-term effects of it. Okay, let me go to my questions. Just one moment. Okay, Kimmy had a question regarding comparing FHA loans with the MI and such. We'll try to get that covered here if possible. If not, Kimmy, definitely email us at support and I'll be able to help you with that aspect if we don't get it covered today. So, okay, perfect. So this is, we're done with all our ARM information here. So we're going to go ahead and advance our screen. And you'll see how all the fees carried over from my first product here. So let's go ahead and go into my closing cost details. You'll see my fees. If for some reason the fees change from the different report types, go ahead and make your modifications and apply it to the loan. So we'll have our information here. I'm keeping all the fees the same, and I'm going to move on. And you'll see how all my MI, my hazard and my taxes also carried over. So what I want to do before I add additional product here, let's save this as a template. So I'm going to go ahead and save it as a template. That's the description of my product. For my own purposes, I want to go ahead and put in my caps in this area. So that way it'll help me identify what type of ARM product that is. So I have a 5.1 ARM, adjustments 5% first adjustment, 2% thereafter, 5% ceiling. So there's my listing here. Press OK. And now it's been saved. And when we're done with this loan, actually let me go into it right now. If I go into settings here, and I go into product templates, you'll see that my product template was set up right here. So then you would be able to go in and modify it. I don't like having my start rate in this area. If you want to modify your fees, you could go ahead and modify the fees or press the trash can to remove it if you don't want those fees within your template. But all those ARM details carried over, so you'll be able to have that information here. Usually my max rate changes, so I want to go ahead and remove that also. But now you have this in your drop-down, you'll be able to use that from any additional ARM products that you have that you want to be able to show. Going back to my home screen, I'm going to click on Purchase Borrower, which is the file I was working on, and brought me back to the last screen I was in. So the next step, just one moment before we add our third product. Yes, Todd, saving templates for product templates or fee templates, if you save it here, they will be accessible for both the client as well as the partner report. So yes, you could definitely access this through the open house flyer, any type of templates you create. Okay, so we're going to add another product, and we're going to go ahead and we'll have this one as an FHA loan. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to change it up a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and do my copy from, and you'll notice now within my drop downs I have my 30-year product as well as my 5/1 ARM. I don't want that ARM information. The conventional is more likely closer to my FHA product, so I'm going to go ahead and indicate that. And I'm going to change my down payment here. So I'm going to modify this a little bit, put in the 3.5% down, changed my base loan amount. So when we create this report, it's not really going to be apples to apples because our down payment is going to be different on these products, but I want to be able to show you how to set up the defaults for your FHA ARM for the the FHA MI. So be able to do it this way. So I changed my interest rate. Actually, that's a little low. Sorry about that. Put in there. Also want to make sure you mark it yes as FHA. What this is going to do, as soon as you mark it as yes as FHA, in our next screen, you will now have your upfront MI field. So if you're missing this, the upfront MI, it's because you didn't mark it as an FHA. So go ahead and press that percentage and then put in your upfront MI factor. And I want to add that to loan amount. So I went ahead and calculated that information for you and then add it to your loan amount. And what's great, you could create the product templates for FHA loans where you can go ahead and put in that upfront MI in there, and it'll automatically calculate and really speed you up when you're keying in the loans through Edge. So again, if you want to go into the closing cost details, I know when I've been helping people with fees, there are fees that are different from conventional to FHA loans. So in that particular case, you want to go ahead and modify your fees accordingly. Once you're done, always apply it to loan. Okay, Tony, the factors, you can populate those factors, and in a moment I'll show you how to do that in the settings, and you'll be able to develop, create the templates that way. So there is, we don't automatically create templates for you, but you're able to do that within the settings and be able to have all that information populated down. And it does save a lot of time, so you definitely want to be able to do that. Okay, so once we're done here, we're going to go ahead and move to the next screen. And now let's go ahead and create the mortgage insurance here. So if I went ahead and put in my percentage, because I put in 3.5% down, my MI factor is 1.35. I want to calculate the MI on the balance. You definitely want to have this marked if it's an FHA loan or a USDA loan, any loan that has a declining MI balance. You want to have that box marked. And because the MI is carried for the life of the loan, you want to put in 360 in this area here. If you're doing a loan that has 90% or less, they only carry it for 11 years, then you would put that term in this area here. You'd be able to create all those different types of templates in your settings, so you'd be able to have it at the different LTVs, so you would have the correct MI factors here. Okay, just a moment before I move on, I want to check the questions. Okay, Jeff. Jeff is asking about a sample to be able to show conventional loans with monthly MI versus lender-paid MI. After we're done with this part, creating the file, I do have one that I created on a report, and I'll be able to show you and bring it up, the difference between the different MIs, and be able to show you how that's done. So you can go ahead and add another product if you wanted to be able to have 4. At this particular case, I'm just going to go ahead and stop at 3. Moving on, this is where in our analysis summary where we want to go ahead and decide what we want to be able to show the borrower. So I'm going to go ahead and keep it as the total interest in MI paid, so I'd be able to show that information. We also have, depending on what they're looking at, you could go ahead and show the total principal paid as well as the total net worth in this area. So I'm going to go ahead and put it back on that. I want my short-term months. I'm going to go ahead and show a 5-year area. So I want to put 60 in that field. And my long-term analysis in this area here, lower right, I'm going to reflect it as a 15-year. Property appreciation rate, I'll show you on the report where this will go ahead and appear. What that will do is increase the rate throughout the years in the long-term area. You can reduce it down to 0 if you don't want to show any property appreciation, or put whatever number it is in your area. And then lastly on the screen, what I want to do is go into the Adjust Reinvestment Strategy. If you want to be able to apply any type of savings toward the principal or toward the savings account, this is where you would do it. So if up in this area, if I want to match all the payments to reflect the same payment, I'm saving 436 on my ARM and 333 on my conventional. I would just come down here and go ahead and add that amount. 436.66. And you'll see once I add that additional savings toward the principal, you'll see that it went ahead and calculated a new freedom point down at the base. So this, I'm just doing it to be able to show you I'm keeping the same payment that they're having on the FHA loan and also carrying that same full payment over to the conventional and the ARM product here. If you mark this adjust on ARM box here, what that is going to do, and if you need more information, just email us at support. But basically, when there becomes an adjustment with the ARM, if the payment increases due to that adjustment, we'll automatically decrease this amount to account for it. So this number will go ahead and adjust accordingly with an ARM product. So if you want more information, it is a little more complicated, just go ahead and email us and we'll be able to provide that to you. Just to be able to show you down here, you could go ahead and provide an investment balance starting point, investment rate of return. You can also put the savings down here and put it into an investment account. It will show you how much that amount is worth after the 15 years or whatever you put in your long-term area. And then you'll have your totals down at the base. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and press OK here. And lastly, I just want to put note out here for our benchmarks. We always benchmarks to the highest payment. If you want to do a comparison on a different product, you would just indicate so here. So it'll be able to show how much you're saving or how much more money those products are compared to the conventional 30-year product. So I'm going to go ahead and put it back on the highest payment. And remember, if you're doing a refinance, you definitely want to be able to go through this drop down in the benchmarks and identify that you want everything to compare against a current mortgage. Okay, so now we're coming into the contact information here. You can see that it carried over from the LOS system, so you would modify it if you would want to. If you have a co-borrower, this is the area that you would put a co-borrower's name, and it would also go ahead and appear on the report. Okay. So now in our select presentation screen, we have it as a total cost. If you want to see an amortization schedule, we do have that option here. If you clicked on that, you would just identify which product you want to be able to see, and you'll be able to review and be able to see the amortization schedule on the screen here, as well as exporting out in a CSV file. If you want to take this data and you want to bring it back into your LOS system, you could go ahead and do a Fnma export from Edge, identify which product you want to carry back, and then you could go ahead and export it down to your desktop and bring it back into your LOS system. Okay, we have our products down here. If for some reason I didn't want to show that FHA, if I unmark it, it removes it from my report. And then now with our payment notes, this is more for compliance purposes. Definitely want to be able to start using this. Let me type this information in first. Okay, what this is going to do is if you have any information typed in this area in your payment notes, and payment notes are on all 4 products, it will go ahead and put double asterisk on the payment on the report and then have this information below that summary section. So I'll show you on the report if where this applies. You can also put, if you have a couple more, I've been seeing some people say to qualify you need the debt to income ratio. You have a little bit of space, so if you do want to be able to put in a little more information, you could go ahead and do so in this area here. In just a moment, let me check the questions. Okay, Kimmy wants to review the investments, putting a dollar amount in the investment. I'll go back there in a moment. I don't, Joey, I don't believe the fees will carry to the LOS system, and the reason for that is in the integrity. They have fees set up in the LOS, and we don't want to override what has already been created by the compliance people there. So we don't carry the fees over. So no. Okay, John, you would have to, John is asking, how can we show client both total cost analysis and the amortization schedule on the same report? It would be separate reports if you wanted to send that amortization schedule to them. We do have a payment stream now on the report. I'll show you that, but it would be two separate pieces. So let me go back real quick to the reinvestment strategy button here. And what Kimmy wanted to be able to see is, instead of this area, let's put the amount of money into the savings account here. And let's go ahead and put it as a 3% rate of return. So with that, for at the end of 15 years, based on that interest rate, they'll have almost $76,000 saved in the savings account. So that's what that area will go ahead and show. So if you have any questions on that, Kimmy, just let me know. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and leave it in the savings account, so I'll be able to show you some more information on the report this way. Okay. Okay, let's move back on. We're going back through our contacts, back through our total cost with our payment notes. We have our monthly payment savings, and now I'm going directly to our very last part of the presentation. Kevin's asking, once you make a payment note in payment notes, will it save from presentation to presentation? No, it doesn't, Kevin, but we'll go into the settings. We do have it in that area where you could go ahead and put that information in, so it will populate it. So it won't be on the physical report, but we could do it in the settings area here. When we come to the presentation, the final screen, want to definitely put a quote date in there. So I'm putting today's date. And then let's check out our report. So this is what we're showing. We have our conventional product here, the 5-1 arm, and then our FHA product here. What I have been doing, if you notice, all I'm doing is when I want to click on a column is I put my mouse over that field and I left click and it does a highlight. It will highlight the column if you go ahead and put it at the top where the title is, or if there's an individual field that you want to go ahead and identify, before you send it, just highlight those fields and it will go ahead and save, and when the borrower opens the report, it will be highlighted also. Down at the base, you'll see a clear all button. The clear all button is taking all the highlights away at one time. So that way it makes it really quick and you don't have to do it one by one. Highlighting works actually really well with the Edge Live. So if you're doing that with your clients, it's a great way to be able to move them through and be able to identify the products and fields. So this is the new field we have right here, is the payment stream. If you click on that, it will provide the payment stream of that loan. You'll be able to have that information. Let's check out our ARM information. You'll see it at 60 at, and then the remainder at. In this particular case, you'll see how the rate went ahead and jumped to my ceiling rate because it just the full 5%. And you'll be able to see that here and be able to explain that to your borrowers. So on the report, as we're reviewing it, what you'll see in the upper right-hand section here is our summary. And we have our basic information that's just listed here. You'll see that there's double ashes that I was talking about, and then also the payment notes right below. So you have that information right here. If you click on the More Info button, you'll get more details behind those numbers. So here we have our payment breakdown. You'll see the P&I payment, your taxes if you include it, your hazard amount, and mortgage insurance. And you'll see how on my FHA loan I have my mortgage insurance. Homeowner's insurance, then we total that. You have your total pity payment. If you're doing a reduction to principal, we show that in this area too. And then we also show the total payment at the very base. Going into our closing cost screen, you'll be able to have all the information about your down payment, your loan to value ratio, lump sum APR cost, non-APR costs, all the information in this area here. And then you can also click on the fee details to get all those itemized fees also. So you have that information here. And then lastly, our reinvestment strategy. This is definitely where you want to do some highlighting. When they come in here, you want to be able to point out the different areas that you've included in the reinvestment strategy. So they'll be able to easily see that in here. So definitely want to do some highlighting and do that. Just a moment, I'm going to go over to the questions. Okay, John's just requesting on loans that do not have MI if there's a way to remove the and MI field here. It's a great suggestion right now. It's unable to do that, so, but let me talk to him and let's see what we could do, and maybe we could test it out if it has MI or not. So be able to do that. But right now it will, because it encompasses both if they do have MI. So going from the summary section over in this area, you'll notice that the quote date is placed right over in here. I have been getting people reports sent over. Remember to upload your image in the settings as well as all your data here. If you have a MLS number, make sure you put the identifier in front of it. You might just have a number here. Make sure you go into settings and make sure you put the identifier in front of that number so that the bar will be able to see that. Going into the monthly payment savings, if you click on the More Info button there, you'll see you have the payment breakdown in this area as well. If you have a second lien, it would also provide the information on a second lien below here. Here's the property appreciation rate that we keyed in, that 3% here. If I had keyed in a tax bracket, it would show in that area. And let me explain the savings over 60 months. What this area is showing the cost over the loan. And what those costs are is the interest as well as your fees. So if I click on the More Info button, and I'm going to highlight my interest line. And when I send out reports, this is what I do. And then I go ahead and also highlight my closing costs or points. What will happen is we add those two together because that's the cost of the loan, your fees and your interest and mortgage insurance. And then we total them together and we take the highest, which is our FHA, because all that MI, which the other two products don't have, and then we compare it, and that's what the savings is. So you can see, be able to show it. And when I show that lender MI paid, this is a great screen to be able to really show the difference in the products between paying MI versus having the lender or the seller pay MI. So that's the short-term savings, be able to understand that. And then the interest in MI in the More Info button here. It provides you how much they paid over that 15-year period. So you have your home value. So this is where the property appreciation rate takes effect over in this area. It will also show you the ending balance that you have on the loan at the end of that 15-year period, because we're applying the additional principal. That's why it's so low at this point. And you'll have your information in that area also. Let me look at my questions. Okay. Okay, someone said that they lost sound. Does everyone still hear me? Okay. Sorry about that, Pat. Okay, so now let's go back to the report and let's go into Generate Link. When you click on Generate Link, this is the link that you send. I'm getting, some people are sending this link to me when we review reports. That's a long link. Make sure you send this one, especially to the borrower. This is a short link. You can embed it in a hyperlink and be able to put words over it so it's just not there. If you're not sure how to do a hyperlink, you can email us at support. We'll give you directions, and it's actually quite simple. To be able to add audio video, you want to make sure you add a video to be able to introduce yourself to the consumer. So you bring up your report in the lower right hand corner, you have a record message. I'm going to go ahead and press allow here. And there we go. Oh, I'm way up there. Hi everyone. So in this area, go ahead and put your talk to the consumer. Don't make it too long because you don't want to lose their interest. Introduce yourself, explain a little bit about the report, and then go ahead and send it off. So to record, you just go ahead and press the button here, and it will go ahead and start recording. You go ahead and press stop. If you want to remove the video altogether, go ahead and press the trash can here, and it will remove that off the report. If for some of those people who don't want to do a video but want to do audio, click that button here and it will do an audio only. So you'll be able to put that. But definitely put a message out. This is a great way to be able to connect, especially if you're not doing that face-to-face with the borrower. You'll be able to place your information here and be able to connect with them a little bit better here. Okay. So once I'm done here, let me check. Okay. Let me, I'm being asked how to customize a link. Let me just show you real quick. So let's go ahead and generate the link. I'm going to do a copy. So I copy that link there. Okay, so if I want to take my link and I want to embed it behind Joe's sample, I highlight it, right click, and you'll see the word hyperlink. Click on that, and then you place the link down in this area here, so the address for it. So as soon as I do that, I press OK, and you'll see now that it's been highlighted, and basically a link has been embedded in it. See how I have my link there? It's so much better to be able to do a hyperlink and send it out in your email, have it hidden a little bit versus having a big link like this. What we've been hearing is if you actually put the borrower's name in that for the hyperlink, they want to click on it more. So maybe throughout your report, do something with their name and embed that link behind the report there. Okay. So now that we're, okay, the button for audio, let me go back to that one. If we go into the record message button, you see at the very base of the audio, that's where you record audio only. So it will only pick up the audio and you will not have a video message with it. Okay, Pat is asking how can I review the video and delete it if I want to record again without generating multiple links and sending an email viewing it? Pat, you could do it all within here. So once you do a recording, well, let me go ahead and take that off. Oh, I have to reset it. I have no access to record. But basically, once you record it, and you can press stop, and then once you press play, you'll be able to view the video you recorded. If you don't like it, just press this trash can here. It will erase the video and start over. So you could just stay in here. You don't have to keep sending the link to yourself. You could just go ahead and just keep recording, playing it back until it gets to what you want to be able to send out. So you could just do it all on that screen. You don't have to send links or anything like that. Okay. Going back to Edge here. Oh, John, I can relate. John is saying he's afraid of doing the video, and it's taken me a while, but the best tip, what I've learned is when you bring it up like this, you can move around the video itself. You could bring it up if you want to be able to look at your report more. What I find out, I put a sticky over the video part so I'm not watching myself and not focusing on that, and that helps. Some people take the script, put it behind the video camera, and be able to read it from there. That's another tip until you get comfortable. But after you start doing this more and more, you're going to get comfortable, and it's going to get much easier. But definitely do it. Just start a little bit, and it's great when you hear the reaction from the consumer having that video. So. Yes, definitely, John, and anyone else. If you create a presentation, you put a video on it, or want us just to review the report, definitely send it over to support at Mortgage Coach, and we'll be able to review it and provide any suggestions that we see to you. So yeah, definitely do that. And Alicia's question, would you send both the link of the recorded video as well as the report so they can click on more info and look in more detail? So let me show you, Alicia. What will happen is you'll be putting this link in the report itself in an email. So if I had a video recorded and if they clicked on it, just like in this new tab here, I'm pasting my link in. The report will automatically come up for them, and if I had the video recorded, it will start playing right away also. So as soon as it opens up either on the desktop or an iPad, they will have that message there. So you don't have to send anything separately. It's just the one link, and it covers both pieces. Okay. And David, let's see, because let me go in here because I don't have one already set up. I'm in my video. So if I went to mortgagecoach.com. In our community tab, we have an Edge Hall of Fame. And we have quite a few Edge reports as well as videos on them. So if I go ahead and view the Edge report, this is exactly what a consumer would see. You see how the report goes ahead at just a moment. I'll stop them. The report will automatically display as well as the video. And you'll see how the video just popped up and it just starts playing. This is exactly what the consumer is going to see. So when you send it out, the link to the borrower, they click on the report, they're going to see the report as well as that video there. So my suggestion is take that link, email it to yourself, experience it. Open up that report and be able to see that video itself. Okay. Okay, as for appear on different areas, what we have just recently moved it to the center of the screen. They can move the video, but it will always open up into the center, John. So for now, you can also go ahead. There's a button at the base. It says hide message. You could go ahead and hide your message. It's still playing in the background. And then you click on it and we'll show it again. So we do have that button there to be able to go ahead and minimize it if they want to be able to view the report while you're speaking. Okay. So now what I want to do is go back up into our settings real quick. Let's see what time it is. Just to review, here's our 5-1 ARM that we discussed. If we go into our fee templates, you have the different fee templates. If you wanted to be able to do any kind of editing, if your fees have changed or you don't want a fee, or you could take, let's say we have this one, it's a 30-year purchase. I want to create a refi and remove that owner's title. So if, at the base, if I say save as, this is basically our copy function. So I could go ahead and put in 30-year, refi. If you want to, if you do multiple states, you want to be able to identify it by the state, you could go ahead and do so there. And then you press OK. So now what it's done, it's duplicated the exact template. And now I could go ahead and modify this template. And anytime I use it, it will go ahead and pull in this information here. You can see how this information is, the original one has not been updated with the deletion of owner's title or adding the fees. So that's another quick way of being able to create one fee template through your report, and then you can go ahead and do your copy function here and be able to modify it. And the fee button over here, just want to be able to show you that. Anytime you make a custom fee, it will be in this area here, and you can go ahead and modify it. If you forgot to mark it as an APR, you can come in here and modify it accordingly. So you have that area to be able to modify also. Okay, we'll go back out to home. What I want to do is pick up this product here, this report. And what this report is, let me go ahead and do it in the presentation. It's showing the various MI products. Let me go ahead and go out of here. And what I have done on here is I showed a monthly MI, lender paid MI, or single MI premium. And you'll notice that on the lender paid MI, my interest rate is slightly higher. And then on my single MI premium, I do have a fee. So if I click on my More Info button and I go into my closing cost fee, you'll see how I have a single premium that I had up front that I keyed in. And I'll be able to show you shortly how that's done. But this is a great presentation. It's showing it. I did also stick on the FHA just to be able to show it. But it does be able to provide you the information of having mortgage insurance and having single premium MI paid by the borrower. Because of that lower interest rate, they'll have a lot more savings. And then again over here, it will show that total interest. And if there was MI, it would show in this area. And then as well as their fees. So you have that information there. And let me go over to Edge real quick. Okay, just a moment. So let me go through my products here on monthly MI. These three products are all conventional. So in this one, it's just monthly MI. So I just keyed in my information here, keyed in all my fees, and then I went ahead and put in my MI factor in this area here. And next, what I did is I'm showing that the lender's paying it. So my interest rate increased because it's going to pick up the cost of the MI through the rate. I don't have an upfront MI in this field. And then I don't have my monthly mortgage insurance either. So that's showing the lender paid MI. And then if I do single premium, what I would do is mark it yes for FHA, VA, and you don't have to worry. This doesn't appear on the report, any reference to FHA or VA. What this does is open up that upfront MI box. So you'll be able to go ahead and put in what your MI factor is, add it to loan amount, and move on. So, and then again, the monthly MI is not on this particular product. So that's how you key in the 3 different types of products here. If I don't want to show my FHA report or FHA product, I remove it from the loan itself. And then you'll see it here, and it's going to go ahead and update, and it will remove that FHA product off the report. So I hit refresh. See how we now just have the 3 products. So definitely over that 5-month period, having the same rate without mortgage insurance compared to the first and the third product, you are saving about $6,000 already in that 60-month period. So it's a good little way to be able to show different MI options here. Okay. John, you were mentioning, he says, if we get audited or when audited, how do we show this for compliance choices? Sorry about that, everyone. On that, John, what do you mean compliance choices? Are you talking about the video or be able to provide an option for compliance? Alicia, it needs to be a 3.2. She's asking about the Fannie Mae. She did find her Fannie Mae export button. Great. And you do need to do a 3.2 DU file. And then Todd's asking, can you send a link on the MI report so we can present a little more time with it? Oh, yeah, definitely. It is simple. Let me see. We'll go into the preview. I'm actually going to take this link and I pasted it in the chat area, but you can always email us at support and we'll be able to do that. Auditing purposes, let me show you another option. If you go into view history, you have your change log, so you'll be able to see your information here as well as your read receipts. Change logs, if this will show all the differences that this particular product I created first day was September, and I've gone into it, modified it slightly those different times. Auditing wise, if I click on that, it will show me, see how this particular product show my FHA. So it's showing me the report at that period of time when I sent it out. So for any type of auditing purposes, you do have that option here if anyone needs to see it. And where I got this button is in the view history button at the presentation screen. So you can click on that and be able to see your information here. If I close that, let me go to home screen again. The report tracking tab also provides you with your notifications here. So if I go into the view all button here, you'll be able to see all your different reports. You could click on the report and you can see how many times it was viewed. So if I put in my MI in my pocket and I click on it, you'll see all the different views that it's had and how long it's been open. So you'll be able to have that. Okay. Currently that log can't be printed, John, but that is a good idea, so let me check into that. Okay. Okay. Another item I want to be able to show you was on the very first screen. Whoops. The reason I clicked on that and my report showed up is because I'm in the report tracking. Let's move back to recent clients and pull up my purchase borrower. I want to point out this particular field here, the partner email. If you wanted to send this particular report to your partner, a realtor or such, you could go ahead and put that email address in here. It can also be used if you have a loan assistant that you want to be able to have the real alerts. You could go ahead and put their email address in here, or if compliance is requesting that you always send them a copy of the report, you can go ahead and put that in here also. Actually, that will do the alerts. So be able to send that to them. So you do have it if you want to be able to have your loan officer be able to do alert or receive those alerts as well. Go ahead and put their email address in this area here. Okay, let me go back into settings real quick, and what I want to do is go into our product templates, and I want to set up definitely if the only product template you set up is an FHA, definitely do so, because this is where the MI terms will getcha. So FHA 30-year, 3.5% down. And obviously it's purchase if you have something down. So I'm just, to create it, create your title. There's no length restrictions in this area. Mark it as yes as FHA. Put in your down payment. If you have a quote, normally 15 days per diem interest, put it in that area. Put in your term. And then I'm going to my monthly costs. My MI, I want to put in my factor here at 1.35. Calculate MI on balance. And then also put in that MI cutoff. So I'll have that information all here, and they will go ahead and populate when I pull that product template down. If you're working in an area that, you know, if you're only doing loans in California, I know I can go ahead and quote 0.35% on my hazard insurance as well as my property tax. I go ahead and provide estimates. If you have an estimate percentage that you could do, go ahead and put that in. That way this information will calculate when you come into your new loan. If you only know as a dollar amount, if you always quote $100, you could go ahead and do that also. So go ahead and put this back in here, and I'll show you how this will work real quick. And then let's put our upfront MI in here. So this you can also do if you're doing VA loans with various upfront funding fees. Go ahead and create the product templates that way. If you do various FHA loans with different down payments, definitely create them, because you could do it once and create the different factors, as well as the MI cutoffs change also. So you'll be able to do that in here and make it quite easy. So now once another item I want to do is your closing cost details. You could go ahead and link one of those fee templates that you have. I'm just going to link one just so I could show you. I don't want to link that one. How about a purchase? So you create your fee template, apply it to the template here. And now let's go into a new file. Let me just go ahead and pull down this template here. Actually, I'm going to go into my purchase product. As you start working with the edge a little more, you notice you can put your mouse, you can hover it over the base here and go directly to the last product. And I'm going to add another product here. And let's use the template just to be able to show you how quick it works. If I go to my drop down and I find my FHA 3.5% down. So let's click on that. You notice that my 3.5 populated in the 360. So I'm just going to put in a dollar amount. See how the down payment automatically calculates. Put in your interest rate. When you advance the screen, you'll notice your upfront MI calculated with that factor, all your fees populated. If you need to make any adjustments, just go in here and adjust your fees accordingly. And then let's look at your monthly costs. It's all filled out. So really having those product templates and then even combining the fee template with the product template is really going to move you through Edge a lot quicker and be able to create those different products. Okay, just Guy is asking, he did some test cases and how do I remove them from the list? Okay, let me go back to home. And it depends if you're an individual account or if you're on an enterprise account, both options. You click on that View All button and you'll see all the different reports over here. You can also do a search by any text that can either be in the title or the friendly name field. And if you click on that particular report that you want to delete, you'll see the delete button over here. The reason why I say some enterprise clients have removed that delete button, and the reason for that is more for compliance issues, so they'd be able to have a record on any file that you've sent out, so they'd be able to have it for internal audits or any type of government agency audits. They'd be able to audit you. So if you want to be able to do that, that's how you go ahead and delete a file. Okay, Guy? If there's I don't see any other questions. If you do, go ahead and put them in the box. Otherwise, we're going to do a wrap-up today. So if you have any questions on, want a copy of that report, if you didn't get it out of the link out of the chat, go ahead and email us at support@mortgagecoach.com. And also remember, when you're in Edge, you have a question, you have that help button right there that takes you directly to our knowledge base. We have all our video tutorials in here. Once you log in, logged out, and you'll be able to see all the information right here. You'll be able to log in if you go ahead. I'm logged in. There is a place where you could get a password, and you'd be able to go into these areas and be able to sign up for any kind of email alerts. So if we add anything, you'd be able to be notified. We also have a search function in this area, so if you have a question on MI, you could go ahead and key it in, and you'll notice we'll give all video tutorials that reference MI. So it's good search base to be able to have any questions and be able to see any video tutorials, and also you can email us directly from here. So okay, that's great. Okay, that's great. If you have any questions at all, Cami, go ahead and email us at support, and we'll be able to work with it. If any kind of questions, we'll go ahead and use email, and if we need to, we do have videos. We'll be able to explain it. Just keep asking questions. Let us know how we can help you on Edge. Enjoy your day. Thank you.